What's up with it, La Familia? Happy Sunday. Just had to pop in real quick.
J-U-S-T-J-A-E, fake niggas free, M-O-B, first lady on the panel, just J, it's the channel, when you're watching, gon' sub, hit that like, leave a comment, respect what she all about, haters gon' walk it out, a lady be a lady, right now bitch, close your mouth, a Midwest gangster, thuggin' in the South, a princess from Chicago, ATL queen, pull up on the shoulder, she the hottest in the city, she a badass bitch, yeah, that thing sitting pretty, roll it up, light it up, we just wanna smoke and ride. If you look into her eyes, she'll leave you hypnotized. Soft spoken when she talk, don't get it twisted, She got lady too bold, yeah they with it, What it is you too street, she ain't come out here to play. Niggas like, who that is? That's my homie, Just Jay. What's happening?
What's up with it, La Familia? Happy Sunday. Just had to pop in real quick.
She said she was. How everybody doing today? So as you can see, this is going to be a tough subject for me, considering everyone on my thumbnail, and I forgot somebody too, are either loved ones or friends that have gone on the other side. So I know a lot of us can relate. Yeah, I was looking at the videos they were showing a takeoff, the memorial, people going in. It kind of made me feel some type of way. I'm gonna drop the link if anybody wants to come up. Yeah, just a tough subject for me. The beginning of this year in February, I lost my cousin Tim. And it's been kind of like domino effect ever since then. My cousin, I don't know. I don't really know the details. His somebody was in a car with him. And thank you, Aaron. And he parked in front of a house. The house was like for sale, I guess, abandoned, but whatever. The dude ran in the house, but he left my cousin's car door ajar. So when he got back in the car, he shot my cousin in the face 3 times. And this has been such a tough year. It really has. It felt like losing my mama all over again because that was her baby. As you can see on the thumbnail, oh my God, I've been like, who did I miss? My grandma, my cousins, my uncles, my friends, people. Never an easy subject to talk about. Thank you. Yeah, real recent. And, we have our days. The whole family have our days. This is still kind of fresh. Right after my cousin died, my friend, my neighbor, as I'm crying, telling her about my cousin, 2 months later, she passed away out of the blue. And it's like, I miss looking out the window, seeing her walking her dogs. I miss seeing her walking to the store. It's like, I don't know. You know what I hate? I hate when people say, it gets better with time. That's a damn lie. It never gets better. You always gonna feel that pain. It's like a missing piece to the puzzle, as I put it. Like I have a hole in my heart. I feel like that's my mama. you know? Um, I was 18 when my mother passed away. I was downstairs in the same building, but my stubborn ass wasn't talking to her because I don't even know why. Probably because she didn't want me to be outside or something. And thank you. And my neighbor on the same floor, she came down there because my son, he just kept crying. I'm like, boy, lay down, go back to sleep. Boy, I'm still asleep. Go back to sleep. So the neighbor came down there and she was like hysterical. She was like, your mama upstairs. She didn't have, she did. I'm like, huh? Because mind you, I'm still asleep. So I'm like, you lying. So I run upstairs. The door was ajar. I don't know if they left it open for me or what, but she passed on the way to the hospital from a blood clot that she never knew she had. She partied the day before. I mean, she like literally went out with no problems, unless she had pains that she didn't tell us about. We'll never know. And a lot of times I feel guilty because we weren't talking at the time that she passed, even though everybody says she forgives you, blah, blah, blah. It's still not the same. But then when my cousin passed, at first we weren't known. We was going back and forth because he's so arrogant. And I was kind of in my feelings. And then on my birthday, he was like, "Happy birthday, sis." And so we squashed it or whatever. Got into an accident on January. I got into an accident on January the 7th. And that was like the last time. No, actually the day Dolph passed was the last time we talked because I had sent them a picture I had took on set. And it's just like, it's hard. It's hard. That's why I came out here. It's like, I'm all I got. Me and my kids. My baby father. We were like, I don't know if we were on a verge of breaking up or if that was God separating us or something. And one day, I'm ready to curse him out. Now, if you notice, every time somebody passes away, or it every time somebody passes away, or it's the day of their funeral, if you notice it always rains. I was told that was God washing their footprints off the earth. So back to my baby daddy. So he was supposed to have came over my house. So he didn't come, and it's raining, so I'm not going out there with the baby in the rain. So I'm trying to, my baby, he crying. Now my son was 5 months when his father passed. His father passed first. He passed before my mother. So he crying. He steady crying. He won't stop crying. I don't know what's wrong with him. Stop raining, and we walk over there. And I see the light on. I said, oh, yeah, I'm finna cuss this motherfucker out because he's supposed to came over my house. I turn the corner, and I'm talking about the whole block outside. I'm like, what this did now? So his father was like, sit down. I got to tell you something. So I sat down, and his mother grabbed the baby. And he was like, Courtney did. His name was Walter, but they called him Courtney. It's like, Courtney did. I'm like, you lying. He like, I'm not lying. Ken, am I lying? Ken, that's what they called his mother. And she was like, no, but she was just so calm. And so me and my son just broke down at the same time. It was like I think I thought that was the worst day of my life until I lost my mother. Because I had never lost somebody like that close at that time. And I've been trying to do this parenting thing, and if you ask a child that doesn't have a mother or a father, do they kind of take it out on that other parent? 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you, yeah. That's how I always felt like my son like took it out on me because his father wasn't here. He never got to really know him. He was only 5 months. He never got to know my mama. He was on the last time I seen my mama was on his first birthday, and then that was April 8th, and she passed 4/20. Go figure. So, oh my God, my cousin Jordan, he passed a couple of years ago. His mother is my first cousin. Hopefully she's here. I showed her the screenshot. We all knew it was gonna be hard. My stepfather Tim, my cousin's name was Tim as well. And so hey Shayna, as well as my grandfather who's also not here, which is weird. My friend's brother, cousins, all of them passed like within a year. It's just been senseless. A lot of these deaths are senseless. Like my mama, she didn't pass because somebody did anything to her. But a lot of this stuff is senseless. We got Toke. Toke lived in what you guys call Oak Block, but we call Parkway. And he was around from where I'm from, which is the Ida B. Wells. So he wasn't in the right territory in the first place. And one day they were taking him and his baby mama was taking their child to the daycare, and they stopped at the gas station, and somebody just came from up behind and shot him. And he was able to get in the car, and his baby mama drove him to the hospital, and he passed on the way to the hospital. Well, he passed at the hospital after surgery. That we took a hit with that one too. And you have Diddy. Oh my God, that was out of the blue too. We had to name it Diddy Grove. We lived on Cottage Grove. I lived on a street called Cottage Grove. We all changed it to Diddy Grove, just like they changed O Block to O Block for Odell. And he was just sitting in a car. I don't even know if they ever found out what even happened to him or who even did it to him. Hey, Madam Oracle. And my cousin, my little cousin, Lil Greg. He, I don't know, a female killed him, but it wasn't. She was a lesbian, and she ran to the reserves. So I don't know if they ever got her, because I did hear that she had came back and they caught her, but I think that was a rumor. So that was kind of hard. That was real hard on my uncle. My uncle kept the ashes for a long time, but he mourned for so long. And we had made a little family group chat, and he would pop in and out because, he's not technical or whatever. And when I say this is my favorite uncle, my favorite uncle, I only have two. He was that uncle. So one day, my dad had the same thing. They both had an aneurysm in their brain, but my dad, they were able to get his out. My uncle, not so lucky. I can literally say he died from a broken heart. So he had the ashes, and his baby mama, ex-wife, she wanted him. He didn't want to give him to her, but he just gave him to her anyway. And then after that, he just went into a coma, and his brain started swelling up from the aneurysm. It is. Thank you. And you have, let me see, who else do I have on here? My mother was the first of 8 children to pass away, actually. My grandmother, she was like in her 90s. She passed away a few years ago. And I had a friend named Lisa just passed out the blue last year. It's kind of rough thinking about kicking it with her, and next you know she gone. And then you have this guy named Scuddy. He lived in the building. Real cool, real cool. Got out the car one day, sat his food on top of the car, and he was just in the middle of somebody else's war. Lost his life. Yeah, I I'd rather celebrate than be sad. But sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes you just had those days. It does. A piece that'll never come back. Never. That's why I never tell anybody it's gonna be okay, because I know it's not. I will never tell nobody that lost a loved one it will be okay. It's always my condolences. Sorry for your loss. It's never gonna be okay. I'm not even gonna lie. Did anybody want to share a story? Yeah, true. I was just watching I was just watching Petsy blog, and she was just saying how Quavo was taking it so hard. He feel like he wish he wouldn't have never went, to shoot dice, and it was his fault. And it had me in tears because they started showing like younger pictures of them, and I'm real sensitive. Anybody have a story they want to share? No judgment here. And who is this? Hey, Avi. Hey.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, when I saw a title, I was also so quick to type in the chat.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna be brief because I feel like I don't I don't wanna take away from your thumbnail, just like everything. Like it's a lot. So I can share. I'll do a brief overview with my story, and then share the most recent, which is it's weeks and weeks. It happened, and it happened at the end of September,
Mhm.
um, and then we're into October, and then something very recent just happened that I can't even speak about. Um, but 2017. So I'll say the past 5 years, my family has experienced 4 murders, 4. Um,
My
uh,
condolences.
yeah, I do appreciate it. Um, I know for me, I hate to sound weird. I'm doing pretty well. I've figured out, or
Mhm.
I don't figure it out like it's some kind of puzzle. I just um, for me, I'm only speaking for me. Everybody is different, and they deal with these kind of things differently. I find ways to try to navigate through it.
Mhm.
Um, I know with one of them, which was the first one. My brother, the last conversation we had, it was an argument.
Hmm.
So then he got murdered, and so um, I can choose to be left with that, but
Yeah.
I opted not to be. A very one of the four, very close. We were because of the age difference. There's like a big age gap between me and my brother that has um, gone on. My cousin was right after him, 3 months after him got murdered. We
Hmm.
were very close. We're closer in age. Our last words to each other was "I love you,"
Hmm.
um, which is great, you know. I, I don't know. Um,
Take your
and
time.
then yeah, I will. I think one of the most strangest things for me is because I grew up. I'm from LA, I'm South Central LA.
Hmm.
Was raised there, so there was I I didn't experience like nothing too crazy immediately, but it's just like the surrounding areas. Like we heard about drive-bys and murders. Like I have friends that I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. But I had friends that experienced this kind of stuff, and that's me coming up. But I'm a full-grown adult. I'm a parent, so I never experienced this firsthand until
Hmm.
5 years ago. So I was familiar with it, but not familiar with it, meaning it happened to us. But like all
Right.
these years later, and I mean back to back to back to back to back. And most recently for me in September, for our family in September, 30 years old, my 30-year-old cousin, he got, that happened to him. And then just last week, something else happened. Not, where someone lost their life. Um, just something else happened that I feel is related to that within the family. And um, yeah, it's it's been some trying times for over the past 5 years, but I feel like by default, it's like you either choose to deal with it or you don't. And even with that being said, everybody deals with it and handles it in their own way.
Right. Right. It's hard.
I mean, I heard and I was just like, let me wait. And I'm listening to you and you're sharing, brief story after story after story. And I'm like, oh my God, like, dang, like, dang. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm just, I hope this is some kind of support or something. I hope anything that I'm saying can resonate with somebody in a positive way, even though this is a very sensitive subject.
Yeah.
Mean, I'm here. The fact that you're doing this, you know, is, I was on my way to go do something totally different on YouTube and I saw it and I was like, wait, hold on. And then I'm here. So
Hmm.
I think it's very brave of you. I think it's good. I think it can be therapeutic in some kind of way. And I'm not saying people are looking for therapy, but
Hmm.
I think it's helpful in some. If I guess that's probably a better word to use. It can be helpful in some kind of way because you never know who's listening. And I know when I saw your thumbnail and I saw the title, I was like, wow. And I think you're super dope. So,
Thank you.
so yeah. Um, yeah, just wanted to
I
come up with,
appreciate you for coming to share your story. I know stuff like this isn't easy to talk about, but it's not gonna disappear. So you can't just
right,
keep on pushing it under the rug.
right.
Brenda, come share. You have a story to share. Come share your story.
Oh, but yeah, I just wanted, I don't know, just to kind of break some ice with this kind of topic. And yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot. It can be a lot to try to unpack and try to communicate to people. But I just commend you,
Mhm.
just for doing this, you know.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a lot of people don't like to talk about it because it's sad, but it happens though. It
And
happens.
that's another reason why I'm like, I'm gonna take the panel, because it's so many different emotions can be tied up into this, these types of experience, regardless of how people move on to the other side.
Mhm.
Um, I know with the taking of someone's life, because before that happened, I experienced death, within family, but
Mhm.
never that like when, and I'm just speaking for me, and I'm not trying to take away from anybody else's experience with, losing a loved one, whatever the method was. I'm just speaking for me, for a life to be taken.
Mhm.
Um, it's a totally different experience. Because there are other things that are involved in it. It's a crime, So
Right.
there are residual things that come after it, the funeral and all that,
Right. And everybody deals with grief different as well.
Exactly. Yep.
But it does help to talk sometimes because a lot of times you sitting there holding it inside and no one knows that you're sad or what you're going through because you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to. A lot of people run away from it. A lot of people like, oh, she's sad today. Like when my when my child's father got killed, my so-called friends were running from me. I like literally saw them running from me. Oh,
Hmm.
she's sad. We don't want to be around her. That's cool.
And I think it's good that you say it, because it is everybody. It's true. Everybody, they mourn differently and react differently, and I'm actually kind of surprised to hear what you just said. Your friends ran from you and instead of towards you. You know,
Hmm.
during this kind of experience. So, um, I see another person is on the panel. Let me call.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
Brenda. I'm
Hi.
fine.
So, Jay, I want to say I can relate. I mean, I was death came to me at a really young age. Well, it might not be young for some, but at 16,
Hmm.
right? My grandmother got diagnosed with cancer the year before, not even a whole year, and she was out of here in like 9 months.
Wow.
But because my family they sheltered the hell out of me, which was good for me in a lot of respects. I didn't get involved in a lot of stuff, but I didn't see it. They kind of hid it from me. And the last time I saw her, I remember she was like down to 90 pounds. And I lost my breath. And she was like, no, come here, give me a kiss. Because I didn't realize, what was really happening. So she died in March. And my mother, she had sickle cell, but, she went through a crisis and stuff. And went to school one day, came home, and mother passed away 3 months after my grandmother left.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So when I tell y'all, I'm an old woman of a certain age.
We
I
same
feel that,
age.
well, because the thing is, people look and be like, "You still grieving?" Hell yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That pain sometimes, Jay. And so I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know your name. Um,
Avi. So Avi love.
okay, hi.
Ozzy, so
Hi,
Ozzy,
yeah, that pain hits me a like a sledgehammer to the chest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just learned how to cope with it differently in healthier ways, because one thing I'm gonna tell y'all, don't let anybody tell you how to experience your grief, how long it should be, what it should look like. Grief is personal.
Right.
absolutely,
And nobody's like, oh,
absolutely.
you shouldn't still be crying. What do you mean? What do you mean? Of
Right.
course, you love somebody. And the thing is, when you lose somebody close to you, it's harder because it's unconditional love, right? There's
Facts.
no love like a mother's love or a grandmother's love. So, or a father's love. So when you lose that, that's not replaced. What replaces that? Somebody who, no matter how you act the fool or act crazy, they're there for you. They love you. They want to make sure you ate. Those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose those, and then it's back to back, because like me, you guys experience multiple deaths.
Mm-hmm.
And so Thanksgiving is not the same. And Christmas, people don't think about that. Christmas is not the same.
Totally
Holidays are
understand.
different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's there at the services, but then after, where's everybody, right?
Right.
Exactly. Oh my God. Exactly. I know
That those are like the
that's a very
saddest times of the year.
Very painful. Like, and I
that's
love Christmas, but I've never experienced a Christmas like it. Even me and my sister trying to recreate it, we could never do it because it was almost like as if you were kind of putting on a facade,
Hmm.
trying to build up over it. And one thing I hope that parents do for kids if they experience death young is to have them talk it through, even if they need to go to a therapist, because we did not get that opportunity.
Hmm.
And whether you want to believe it or not, you can deal with grief now or you're going to deal with it later. Because
Right.
you can't avoid it because it is going to come out in like demonstrative ways. It's going to come out.
Hmm.
Because when you hide pain, pain comes out in the way that you behave, whether it be
Hmm.
addiction or the way you talk to people, aggression, like, and I literally became unraveled at like in my early 30s.
Hmm.
And I know what was going on. I felt like I was going through like a whole metamorphosis, but it's because I didn't deal with that grief.
Hmm.
So that's when I started going to counseling. That's when I started that 2.5 years of that life coaching. And although it was painful, it was needed because like I had abandonment issues, and it'll make you like when you lose somebody you love, you either get attachment or detachment issues, right?
Hmm.
It like
Hmm.
you're either trying to hold on to people even if they're not good for you because you're scared of losing another person. Like
Hmm.
it's death. A lot comes with death, you know. And there's other
Yeah.
people who can have a death and they be back swinging. I be looking like, ooh, how y'all do?
The,
what is
the
what's the
hardest
source?
the hardest thing for me is the first thing to come to my mind is I'm never gonna see this person again.
Correct.
That's the first thing that always comes to my mind.
Yeah. And so what my life coach taught me and what it's become helpful for me just recently is that when they leave here, they don't leave you, right? They go to the other side to help you from there. And that helped me so much.
Yeah.
It's like to think that, okay, our work is not done here, but we're over here helping you, making sure that, yep, when that happened, yep, we're over here making sure that you know that you have protection on the other side. And that gave me a little bit of solace,
Right.
you know, because I believe that, you know, certain things happen and I go, I believe that that's really what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, so,
And I'm always the type of person that believes that even though it's sad and it happens and you don't want it to happen, that
mhm,
everybody has a date that they're
mhm,
born and it's already destined when they're going to pass away. So I look at it like, that person, there's nothing you could do
nope,
to cheat death.
at
It
all.
is sometimes people die. It's a lesson to some people and some, I don't know. But I don't feel like anything happens by mistake. It's just
No,
a hard pill to swallow, especially when it's somebody like really close. I mean, like
correct.
every time I looked at my uncle picture, I couldn't look at his picture for a long time. Every time I
Yeah,
looked at his picture, I would just start bawling.
it took me 20 years to put my mother's picture up. I'm not even kidding y'all. Not
Hmm.
kidding. I couldn't put a picture up. Couldn't look at her.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was hard for me. Like, I had to come to terms with like what I was really going through. And so, and Jay, this is so brave of you. Thank you for doing this because this is hard. And a lot of people don't want to deal with it, but there's so many people who need to like really have these conversations. The motherless daughters, the fatherless, sons. This is a
Hmm.
real thing. People are navigating through life
True.
right, trying to deal with this by themselves, thinking, oh, I don't want anybody to think that, I'm a mess. We all are a bit of a mess.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
We all trying to figure it out, but let's figure it out together,
Right.
and not judge each other. Because I think what bothers me so much about YouTube is that there's so many amazing people on here. And
Hmm.
some of these people is part of your soul tribe, but everybody keeps saying YouTube is just to teach, just to this and just to that. No, YouTube is what you make it. You
Right.
understand? And your soul tribe could be on here. There could be some amazing people on here who you can get together. But we judge, it's a lot of judgment and bull crap on here.
Hmm.
Instead of people saying, like, I would never known this. Like, you have experiences similar to mine. We're dealing with death. A lot of people are dealing with depression because of death, not because you just have depression. You have
Facts.
anxiety because of it. Somebody call you and tell you they're sick. I spiral out sometimes because I'm scared to death. My mother went to the
Hmm.
hospital and died a couple hours later. So when somebody
Hmm.
tells me they're sick, my mind goes all the way to 100. instead of just thinking, oh, they'll be all right. The doctor's going to give them something because of my
Right.
experience, right? So if we could share our experiences and not be judged so that people can heal, because it's a lot of painful situations that people are going through.
Right.
Yep.
I agree. I just want to touch on something really, or actually add to something.
I did,
Um,
Casanova.
Go ahead.
um, I believe she mentioned earlier about someone saying, "Oh, you're still crying over that."
Hmm.
One of the worst things for a person to say is like, get over it. No, everybody's different, and everybody deals with adversity, and which includes death, in their own way. And crying is one of the most natural
Hmm.
Mm.
emotions that's been God given to us. And I'm, trying to be respectful of everyone's faith. I know my faith has helped me deal with these different passings in my life. And it's been my grandmother passed in 2012, and I still, not only do I cry, sometimes I yearn for her. And I think
Mhm.
it's a painful emotion, but it's a beautiful emotion. And what happens with that with me is it makes me think about all the positive things that she instilled in me as
Hmm.
a young
Yeah.
woman, in the middle, even if that makes sense, in the middle of crying and yearning for her. For me, it's a positive emotion because I may be facing something that I feel like, oh my God, only she could understand. But then I remember the things that she taught me. So, yeah, like, if anybody, because there are people that I'm sure will hear this broadcast who will
Hmm.
never put in your chat, they ever. They're just
Right.
listening.
Mhm.
And I just want to say, like, don't to those people that say, oh, you're still crying over that. Who are they to question how you grieve? It's okay to
Hmm.
grieve and cry. Crying, it can be a beautiful thing. Actually, it's therapeutic.
It is
It's
very.
something
Yeah.
that, yeah, you're getting something out of, getting rid of, if it's pain, whatever it is. It's a way of getting, even if it's temporary, getting rid of something.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
I hope that makes sense to
No,
y'all.
it
It
does. It's
does.
definitely a
It
form of
does.
release.
It does. I
Mhm.
wake up sometimes and I'm like, I'm still crying. It's just
Hmm.
it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Whew. Especially, when you think about the manner in which they died, or like my
Hmm.
grandmother, she was so stubborn. She was in her 90s. So she had a stroke in 95. Now my grandmother, she was superwoman. I never seen her have a job. She raised 8 kids on her own. And so I would love to be like my grandmother because she was strong. I never saw a weak moment.
Hmm.
My grandmother actually, after she passed, my auntie told us that she had died before. Her oldest daughter, who also is deceased, got into it with her husband, and his sister stabbed my grandmother, and they had my grandmother on the table and pronounced her dead, and she came back.
Lord.
And I didn't even know that until the day of her funeral.
Mm.
But my grandmother, she had a stroke in 95, and I was pregnant. So me and my son's father, rest his soul, we would walk down there to the hospital every day to see her because it was in walking distance. Plus, it was healthy for me to walk. And she was like, "He love you. He walk down. He come with you every day. He go everywhere you go. He love you." So after his grandfather killed him, because that's who killed him, shot him in the head with a double barrel shotgun.
Oh, Jesus.
hmm I at the funeral. So there was a lot of my family there too. So, that made me over emotional too, because I'm a very sensitive person. I cry over everything. So I'm sitting there, and my mother comes past, and it's the time to go back around again to see the casket, because they had the nerve to have an open casket. I mean, he looked okay, but the fact that he got shot, do you know what a double barrel shotgun with those bullets are?
Yes, yes, yes,
hmm
ma'am.
Okay, so
It does. Yes. Hmm.
so he actually had an open casket. So when my mother came back around, she looked at me and she started crying. And of course, I started crying. You gonna cry when your mama start crying. So my auntie's best friend, who is also deceased, she grabbed my arm. She said, "Come here, Nene," and she started hugging me. She like pat me on the back, like it's gonna be okay, Nene. It's gonna be okay, Nene. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I did want to go see him for one last. I didn't even get to see him the last time going around. But so we left out of the after we left out of the funeral home. I hear somebody call my name. Now, mind you, my grandmother had a stroke, so she really couldn't walk that good. She was getting out the car. She called my name. And when I tell you that was the
Aw.
most beautiful moment in my life,
Mm.
like they came through for me. I did my daddy said he was there. I didn't even remember. I know he was there with my mama. I know he was sitting right next to me when my mama passed because I had a poem that I wanted to read and they skipped over me because they thought I wasn't gonna be able to handle it. Once they skipped over me, I said, "Oh, okay, I got one for you. Now I'm gonna scream. Now I'm gonna holler. Now I could just let it all out now because
Not
you know,
cutting up, Jay.
for real.
You give it to him. That's right.
Now I just gonna let it all out. And I mean, when I tell you, we was brought up in a two-story church, a real big church. That whole church was full. That's how loved my mama was. That
Oh,
whole church was full. If anybody disliked my mama, they would just hate her. She was the coolest.
Wow.
And for a long time, because she passed in April, for a long time, like when April would come around, I would get real I would get real sad, like real depressed. And it didn't dawn on me till years later, like, okay, my mama passed in April.
right.
So
Isn't the body amazing?
right.
Right.
Hmm.
So after I realized that, then I was able to cope with it a little better when it comes to April. But it was this year, her birthday in October, October 25th. And it was a hard month for me.
Hmm.
It really was. But I noticed sometimes I'll be thinking about something or I need something or it's just a thought in my head comes and I look at the clock and it'll be 10:25 or 4:20.
Wow. I say they be over there working.
Mhm. And it's always like it's always at a time I can't explain like the experience when it happens. It's like I don't know. I seen her though. My mama knew I didn't like I don't like supernatural movies. Like I cried. I mean, I couldn't sleep a week after watching ET. Don't judge me. But I was only 5. So so I know she would never come to me, in spirit because she knew how I was. So one day my son again, he crying. Boy, lay down. I'm only 20. I'm 19 rather. I'm lay down. I'm trying to sleep now. I'll get up in a minute. So next thing I know, he started laughing. And I looked up and somebody in all white went towards the front of my house. Now my door, my bedroom was right across from the front door. So by them going towards the front of my house, that mean they would have to come back past my bedroom to get out the door. And in my head, I'm like, somebody done broke into my house. So I was scared. I sat there for a while, didn't hear anything. And I went in the living room and the kitchen window was just open. So I was like, that was her visiting him. But this baby daddy of mine, so when we were moving out of my mother's house, it was me, my god sister Star, her son, her daughter's father, and this other dude. We didn't say his name. But so I was sitting on the bed, packing up and stuff because I didn't want to stay in the house. So I moved into another apartment. So I'm sitting on the bed and I moved this jury box. And it's not one of those weak jury boxes that just plays music when you touch it. It's when you have to like literally wind it up. So sat the jury box to the side and it started singing, playing the music. So I looked at my god sister. I was like, "That's not supposed to do that." She in class. I sure wish she was right here. I was like, "That's not supposed to do that." And so we just kept moving, but we started moving a little faster. So I heard a glass break, and I knew it was a end table in the pantry. So I went in the pantry and I looked in there. Nothing was broken. So we started moving even faster. Next, we heard like a organ playing or some type of music playing, and the curtain started rattling. I ain't say nothing now because I'm not trying to make myself look crazy. My god sister said, "What was that?" I said, "You heard that too?" She said, "Yeah." When I tell you the guys left out of the house, they would not come back in with their scary asses.
What?
Typical.
we throwing furniture out at this point. Like, we got to get out of here because something ain't
How they
right.
gonna leave the what? You know what?
But I do believe in the afterlife. I was like,
Yeah.
that's probably what nobody but Walter and his jokes and shenanigans. It was crazy. So yeah, I do believe in the afterlife. I do believe she's with me, but not how I want her to be.
Yeah.
And probably the reason I make it through a lot of things that I don't think I will, or stuff like that. But yeah, I was just sitting up here. I guess take off thinking about him and how that man died for like literally nothing.
Right. Things can uh anything can
Trigger.
trigger anything at any given time.
Yeah.
So I want to say that really quick before I jump off because I'm on my phone and I'm having issues with my charger and it's like reverse charging. It's like sucking the life out of my battery. So I just wanted to come up here really quick just to show some kind of support, share a little bit about my personal experience, and thank you so much, Jay. Like I don't know, in the brief time that I've been interacting with you and coming on your channel, I think you are like such a dope content creator.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank you.
Such a lovely sis.
I
Um,
appreciate you for coming up here sharing your experience. It's not
Yeah.
easy to always talk about and relive stuff like that.
right, you're so just so cool and so open to just pretty much anything. And that's my impression of you, and um, just blessings and prayers to you and your family. And the other young lady, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but thank you for coming up and sharing your story and your experience.
You
And
as well. It was nice meeting you.
Her name is Brenda.
Brenda, hi,
Yeah.
so Avi love. Like, however, take any of the three names. You can call me any of the three, and I'll respond. But thank you
Okay.
for having me up, Jay. But yeah, let me figure out what's going on with this phone. 'Cause
Okay.
You probably need a new charge or
Yeah.
your battery is
it's the cord.
overcharged.
Yeah, I think it's the cord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those charges
Uh,
never last.
Thank
Mm-mm.
you, ladies, and
You too. Thank
everybody
you.
in the
Thank
chat.
you.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you again, Jay. I really
No
appreciate you
problem.
doing this. Aaron told me that you were going live in your topic. I said, let me get over here because I always be missing your lives, and I don't know why. Even though I keep resetting the settings.
YouTube does that. Before I was even a content creator,
Yeah.
content creators will say YouTube does that.
And I'll see it 1 minute after you ended. I'll be like, so how in the hell? Like, how does this happen? I'm just because usually even when I'm on somebody else's live, I'm scrolling through,
Hmm.
and I don't know how I miss your lives. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad I made this one.
Fine. That's why I'm trying to do them shorter so you can do a playback if you miss it.
Yeah, right. I agree because some of these 3 hour lives, I can't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Jay. I'm gonna be in the comments. I'll be in the chat, boo.
No problem. Thank
Okay,
you for
no
coming
problem.
up. I appreciate you guys for telling your stories. It's not a easy. Um my sister's grandmother, she was a state representative. She passed away from cancer. Her daughter passed away from cancer, and my stepfather, he also passed away. So my sister, they were like the three closest, I could say, almost next to my mother. Like, you could literally say my sister just lost everybody. I wish she was here. I know I sent her the live. I know it would probably been hard for her to talk about, because I felt so bad for her after her father passed away, because it was like, my mom's gone, now your dad's gone. My daddy offered to be her father though, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's like, and then I look at other people with their mothers and I wonder like some people that like mistreat their mothers and like you just don't even know the half of it. I don't want to say I envy them, but I just don't understand it. I just wish like I had a mother. You know what I'm saying? My outlook always was like, okay, my mother brought me to this earth. Yeah. And she was my guide, but my guide left me and I had to figure out everything by myself, making tons and tons and tons of mistakes. And probably gonna make some more because no one's perfect. But it was just like you would never think your mother would leave you. That was like the hardest thing. I mean, didn't nobody know I smoked cigarettes, weed, nothing. I mean, that day I was on one. For real. I mean, I was walking around with her picture. I couldn't cope. I couldn't. I think that's the hardest thing I ever had to deal with in my life. I know, and I think now, and I'm like, if my mother was alive, but she never knew how to drive. She never learned how to drive. Like we would probably be going shopping. We probably wouldn't be arguing so much because I would understand her now and understand why she kept me in the house all of the time because she didn't want me to see what was out there in the streets, which was nothing. Because when I was able to go out on my free will, I found that out on my own. It was too late to even thank her for shielding me from that. So yeah. And then like my uncle, like I said, I was getting to, he literally died from a broken heart. Like after his son passed, he was never the same. And when his baby mama took his ex-wife took those ashes, he went into a coma and never came out. Literally died of a broken heart. So it is possible. Um, my friend's brother, oh my God, that was so hard too. He passed a few years ago. My heart hurt so bad for her because it's like every year almost since then she's lost someone. She's at work right now. So hopefully she catches this playback. So Maria, I love you. And I made sure I put all of them up here right next to each other. Um my mom was a great person because oh yeah, I had a great childhood. It was just the teenage years for me because she didn't let me do anything. I guess because by that time we was living in the projects and she didn't want me to go outside because it was dangerous or something. I couldn't do nothing but play in the hallway. It was so hard. My teenage years were so hard. But you know what? If I could get my mama back, I'd do it all over again. Because if no one else was there for me, she was. I moved out of her house when I was 18 because I was just tired of yeah, I was so tired of not being able to do what I want to do. So I moved with someone. They treated me like crap. Had me and my son sleeping on a box spring in her son's room and it was ugh. People are something else. Um so I wanted my mama to ask me to come back. Yeah. Well, I can't say that. I would sneak out. I don't tell my kids none of those stories. But I um I used to want my mama to ask me to come back. It was like my pride wouldn't say, don't laugh at me. It was like my pride wouldn't say, Mama, can I come back home? So one day I go over there. She done turned my whole room into a closet. Mama. Really? I wasn't fast now. I wasn't fast. I was just getting some air. It was parties. They had parties outside the window. Like, Mama, you could just look outside the window. I can't go downstairs. I'm looking at all my friends playing tic tac toe and all types of stuff, and I'm looking out the window like, oh, it was the times when I came back and that door was locked. Oh boy. Yeah, I would never tell my kids none of those stories. I'd never tell them none of my high school stories, none of them. I do not want y'all to do nothing I did when I was younger. Not that I was a bad kid, but you know, I was a little rebellious at times because I wasn't able to do everything. I want anything. So I was outside fast. The party was right down, so I was right outside. All she had to do was look out the window. She might not have seen me because there was a lot of people out there, but oh, I never forget that day. She had locked that damn door, and I had to knock on the door to get in the house. I was so embarrassed. Oh snap! I'm like, oh man, here come that shoe. Here come that little flip flop. Who know about the flip flop? I ain't get the wait. I think my grandma did do the switch on the tree, but that flip flop, I think that hurt worse. I mean, till it started bending. But I love my mama. I never like these kids nowadays. They be wanting to fight their mama's back, and I never looked at my mama like jumped up at my mama or nothing. I never, ever. I always gave her at least that respect. These kids nowadays, you they don't even know the half of it. Like we raising these suburban kids because they think like I don't know. I think it's like, hey, Six Dub. I think it's like you try to. In my case, I don't know. It might be for you too. I tried to do things I that my mama. I tried not to do some of the things that I didn't like that my mama did to me, to my kids. I was scared of my mama too. 8:31. I'm on punishment for 2 weeks. Oh, she thought she was slick. Come in at 8:30, not 8:31, not 8:32. 8:31, I was on punishment. No lie. They used to make fun of me like, you better hurry up in the house, girl. Like, forget y'all. I'll be back out though. Yeah. But like my kids, I didn't like, okay, so I would let them go outside because I could see them. You need fresh air, you know? But you know what? You went in that aspect, you really can't win for losing. Um, I was never, ever, ever gonna chew my food up and give it to my child. I don't know if my mama did it with me because I was a baby, if she did, but I think that's the nastiest thing you could do. But she did do that mama spit stuff, walking on the way to school and licked her thumb. Mama, that is so nasty. Don't tell me y'all ain't had the mama spit. But yeah. I give anything to get those days, but just beside the mama spit, yeah, I'll give anything to get those days back. Spend more time with my uncle, my grandmother. My grandmother, she was begging God to take her. She was after her, as the years went by, she got sicker and sicker to the point where her bones, like by her having that stroke, I think she had a few of them, and her bones just began to get stuck like that. So one of her arms, she could barely move it. And one day it was like, right. So she wasn't like she never was the same after the stroke, I could say. And that was kind of hard because my grandmama was like superwoman. I remember one day, don't laugh at me and don't judge me either because she was heavy. I remember one day she asked me to help her to the bed. So I tried to help her up out the chair, and I put her arm on top of my arms, and I'm trying. This lady done slid on down and fell on the floor. We just started cracking up. I'm like, oh my God, I just dropped my grandma. She was heavy. That lady was heavy to not to, it was all bones. Like grandma. That lady was crazy. She was in the eventually they had put her in a nursing home and well, a rehabilitation center, and she hated it because it was so far away from the rest of the family, so a lot of people couldn't see her like they did when we was in the neighborhood. So one day, who was it me and my sister or me and my daughter's father? I think it was me and my sister. We was there, and she was talking about her daughter who had her put in there. She was like, I hate her. I kill her dead. If I she said if I had a knife, I'd kill her dead. I was like, Grandma. She used to cry. She used to beg God to take her. That lady was something else. I'd give anything to hear her laugh again. I felt like my grandma was too stubborn. She held on. She held on. She would not let go. I think that's the reason why she held on for so long, because she was so stubborn. And even though she wanted to let go because she didn't want to be like that, wasn't her time. I remember I used to talk to her from down here. She used to be like, when I get better, I'm gonna come down there and visit you. I'd be like, yep, grandma. Mm-hmm. Because of course we knew that wasn't gonna happen, but I wasn't gonna say, now grandma, you know. I miss that lady too. She raised me a good deal of my life too. That was how I learned how to ride the bus going over her house. She lived right next to the Comiskey Park before they turned it into US Cellular. And I remember one day Michael Jackson had a concert, and we was just standing outside because we could hear it. We was standing outside dancing, all the neighbors outside and everything. And I guess my cousin must have looked like she was homeless or something, because somebody walked past and put $1 in her arm. It was so funny though, because we was just out there dancing like we really hear Michael Jackson. That was so dope. I mean, I wish we could have saw him, but it was dope. Then they tore it down for the new for the new stadium, and that's when like everything changed. But like my cousin who just passed away, that was my baby. Me and his sister raised him. Like for real. And we'd get into it, I'd be like, boy, I changed your pampers. So what? Men are smarter than women, and I'm smarter than you. What did you say to me? Like this boy, he was so arrogant. He just didn't know how to articulate what he wanted to say. But when I tell you, he thought he was onto something. If we could understood what he said, he might have been. And the crazy part about it is, after he passed away, no one had access to his phone because they was trying to get into his phone. They was like, well, maybe we could hold it up to his face and it'll open. And his birthday is June 22nd. On June 21st of 2021, he made a post in some religious Christian group, and he was saying he was your Yeshua, somebody from the Bible, and explaining and stuff like that, because he used to think he was Jesus reincarnated. So and I don't know what he had, obsession with some Mexicans. I don't know what it was. But somebody so his sister one day she like reposted it in our cousin group, like, how did this happen? Like it was a recent post. Like the post popped back up out of nowhere. 3 days, she found it 3 days after it was posted by him, saying the same thing. So somebody under there, like, you sound stupid. You worship the devil. How are you Ysira? Blah, blah, blah. I said, no, you sound stupid because you're sitting up there talking to a dead person. It's so strange. I do believe in the afterlife. I do. But I'm not going to hold y'all too long with this sad talk unless someone else wants to come up here and share a story. Six Dub, did you have a story you want to share? There's the link if you do. Well, hopefully, I shared this to my Facebook. Thank you. I felt it was needed. I don't know. I felt it in my spirit. I did. I still walk around wearing my cousin T-shirt with pride. We had T-shirts made for his funeral. I walks around with pride. That's him on the beginning of my intro. My little brother slash cousin. Hey, True Marie. And that one don't seem fair though. It didn't. We can't understand for the love of us. We don't know who. We don't know why. And his sister said the look on his face was like, really, nigga? I couldn't even imagine the pain. Like, I'm sure it was probably instantly, but why? He had changed his life. He wasn't in the streets like that. And something we can't take back. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I am so sorry, True Marie. My condolences. Oh my God, girl, you got me in tears. I am so sorry to hear that. If you ever need somebody to talk to or a shoulder to cry on, you can always reach out to me. Oh, girl, you just made me super duper. I am so sorry to hear that, girl. Hey. It's taking strength for you to even come online. I couldn't, probably just to get away. I get it, to find something to do, because you be like a chicken caught in headlights when stuff like that happen. It's like I don't know what to do, where to go. You lost, just lost. I was lost for a long time. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I still feel lost. I still feel like life isn't fair. Like, why did she? Why? I can't question God, but I still wonder why. Like, she was so young. I'm almost 39. She was about to turn 40, and I'm 45. Mama didn't even make it to see 40. So yeah, that's why I was saying the other days. That's why I like hearing the birds chirp, because around the time that she passed, one night I stayed up all night with my god sister and my daughter's father, my oldest daughter's father, and we was just talking, just chopping it up till the sun came up. And next you know, we heard the birds chirping, and after that it just caught my attention. Every time I hear the birds chirp, it just sounds so beautiful to me. I understand. If don't nobody else understand, I understand, honey. Gotcha. Oh no, I got you. I'm so sorry to hear that. Or I got chills. Well, I'm not gonna make everybody sad because I'm sitting over here making myself sad. But I did need this. I did need to. I'm thankful for women that came up here to talk to me and share their stories, because it takes courage to relive something that's very traumatizing, that will always be traumatizing. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. I'm probably gonna go live later and talk about Takeoff and Young Dolph, see what's going on with them. But I think I'm gonna go take a nap because yeah, I done got myself in my feelings right now. But I appreciate you guys for coming through. And again, this is
What's up with it, La Familia? Happy Sunday. Just had to pop in real quick.
J-U-S-T-J-A-T, fake niggas free, M-O-B, first lady on the panel, just J, this the channel, when you're watching, gon' sub, hit that like, leave a comment, respect what she all about, haters gon' walk it out, a lady be a lady, right now bitch, close your mouth, a Midwest gangster, thuggin' in the South, a princess from Chicago, ATL queen, pull up on the shoulder, she the hottest in the city, she a badass bitch, yeah, that thing seem pretty, roll it up, light it up, we just wanna smoke and ride. If you look into her eyes, she'll leave you hypnotized. Soft spoken when she talk, don't get it twisted, get it twisted. She got laid in too bold, yeah they with it, yeah they with it. What is you too street? She ain't come out here to play. Niggas like, who that is? That's my homie, Just Jay. What's happening?
What's up with it, La Familia? Happy Sunday. Just had to pop in real quick.
hey Nicarachi. You might have to catch the replay. Else we do. And it just happened today? Or is it the anniversary? Girl, I know. I was a mess. When I say I was a mess, I walked in the restaurant, hair all over my head with a picture of my mom. I sat the picture on the counter. Didn't nobody say nothing to me. I guess they knew, don't talk to her, something wrong. So I completely understand. And then to see the man who killed my son's father looking out the window when I dropped my son off. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you have a lot of support here. There are a lot of us that are grieving for mothers. Oh, I think that's the worst. So I'm gonna go ahead and give me some information on for my next live, you guys. I'll come back later. Thank you for pulling up.